Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sandy Says. Today I have a review for you on the Graco Ready2Grow Click Connect Double Stroller. If you've been around for a minute, you'll know that I have already made a video on this topic, but now that I've been using the stroller for a full 2 years, I wanted to update you guys and just kind of remake this video. So if you're interested in that video, please click the iCard above my head, and as always, thanks for watching. Welcome back to Sandy Says. If you're new, click the subscribe button down below, and if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching. When I first purchased the Graco Ready2Grow double stroller, I had a newborn and I had a 20-month-old son, and I thought the stroller was the greatest thing ever. The newborn would ride in the bassinet. She would face me. My son would sit in the front seat. If I felt like I needed some personal time with my son, I would put him in the bassinet facing me, and I would put my daughter in the car seat in the lower seat, and all was wonderful. And it stayed like that for about 6 months until my daughter got big enough to sit upright in the seat, and that was when I realized that this was not the best stroller for us. So basically, the biggest issue I had with this stroller was that the bassinet seat, which is the seat that faces towards you, the back on it is not very high. So when your kids sit down in the seat, if they fall asleep or something, then their head will flop to the right or the left, and they don't really have much support behind them. And then the other issue is that when you have two children under the age of 2 years old or just close in age together like that, what I found was one of them had to be in the bassinet seat, which they didn't really fit in, and one of them had to be in the front seat because my son was not old enough for the bench. Like, he just was straight up not mature enough to sit on that riding bench, and he definitely was not big enough to stand on it. So we went almost a full year of not using the stroller with it just sitting in the garage. And then after that first year, when my son turned around 2.5, almost 3, and when my daughter turned almost 1, we were able to switch them, and my son was able to ride on the bench some, but he's still small enough to where if he gets tired or something, he wants to lay down, and there's just not an option for both kids to sleep in this stroller at the same time unless one of them is in an infant car seat. So right off the bat, that's the biggest thing that I do not like about this stroller, and that's a reason why I would not recommend buying it if your children are like both under the age of 3. I would say not a good option. If you have a newborn and maybe say a 4-year-old, it's probably the best option on the market, because I definitely think it's better than the baby trend sit and stand. So yeah, that's that. The other thing that I really do not like about this stroller is the cup holders. The parent cup holders are absolutely useless. They don't hold anything. The biggest thing that they'll hold is like a Coke can. And when your kids are in the bassinet, they can reach the cup holders. So that's a problem. I have sent so many cups flying. And then the third thing I don't like about the stroller is that when my son does sit on the bench seat, he can reach the brake. So we'll be like mid-walk, and he'll reach down and push the brake with his foot, and everyone will jerk forward. And it's really a pain in the butt. So those are the things that I don't like the most about this stroller. Next, I'm going to go over a few things that I do really enjoy about the stroller, and just some of the specifications as well as some of the features. So this stroller, obviously you can fit the Graco Snug Ride Click Connect car seat. It says it has 12 riding options, but one of those options is if you have 2 car seats in there. So if you don't have twins, it's really 11 riding options. And I have found through the years that both of those riding options have been pretty useful, with the exception of not being able to really use the bassinet. I will say that learning how to work this stroller has been rather difficult, and I know that I'm not the only one that had trouble figuring that out, because I couldn't find any resources on it, so I went ahead and made a full tutorial on how to move the seats in this stroller, and what I found was about 30,000 people watched the video and commented that they had the same problems mastering the stroller, and it was difficult to use. So that is something to keep in mind when you're purchasing, that those 12 riding options are kind of a pain to move the seats constantly, but it's not a huge deal. It's just kind of an inconvenience. Another, excuse me, another feature is that it's got the multi-position reclining front seat. So if your kid's asleep, they can, lay all the way back. But they cannot lay as far back as they can in the Graco modes double stroller. They're still at kind of an incline, and then in the bassinet, they cannot recline at all. So sleeping is only an option for one child. But other than that, the front seat is awesome. The other thing I really do like about the stroller is that the cup holders in the front seat completely detach. So if you do have a sleeping child laying down in the front seat, you can remove the cup holders and just lift your child straight up without having to lift them up and over a cup holder. Both seats have a 4-point harness, which is wonderful. Both of my children had to be 4-point strapped in or they would escape. This standard stroller has the plastic wheels like most of the standard Graco strollers. They work just fine. Definitely the stroller, the wheels, and the ride on it is a lot more sturdier than the baby trend stroller. The baby trend stroller tends to be pretty rickety. The Graco stroller doesn't feel like that. It is kind of bulky to move. The specifications of this stroller is that it's 42 inches deep, and then it's 23 inches wide, and it's 45 inches tall. And I do feel like if we go into the doctor's office or something, I feel like I definitely feel like I'm driving a boat through. And I know other people notice it too, because I've had comments about like, oh, here comes your Cadillac or whatever. So that is something to think about if you don't like to draw attention to yourself. I don't really care, so I don't mind, just whatever makes my kids comfortable. So that's something to keep in mind, that it is pretty bulky, but it does ride nicely. The wheels move smoothly and everything. This stroller definitely, it's got that basket underneath of it, and the basket, I really enjoy the basket. It's got a lot of space. If we do a zoo trip or something that's an entire day trip, I can fit everything that we need into the basket, and then the seat lifts up so you can access the basket, but that only matters if you're not using the bassinet. So there is no easy access to the seat if you're using the bassinet. And then another option, or another nice thing about that bench seat, is that the bench seat sits underneath the bassinet when the bassinet is in place. So it does kind of give you like a little extra space to set like your wallet or your phone or something you need to grab quickly. This stroller does fold and open very easily. It's got that one hand standing fold where you can just do it with one hand. So that's nice. Both seats hold children up to 50 pounds like all the Graco strollers. It does not specify on the website, but my assumption is that the minimum weight is 14 pounds. I also just noticed something on Graco's website that I've never noticed before, but this stroller does meet the Disney side requirements. If that's a place that you frequent or somewhere you're planning on using it, you are able to use it there. As far as cleaning goes, we have not had any trouble. The fabric is like that windbreaker fabric, so you won't ever really need to take it off to throw it in the washing machine. There's not even a way that you can do that. You just have to spot clean it using mild soap and water. Never ever use bleach in general on your car seats or anything, FYI. But I've never, even with my son like wet his pants or something, we've been able to take a spray bottle to it, and it comes clean super easily. In my previous videos, I've got a lot of questions about whether or not this stroller would fit in the trunk of your car. I actually made an entire video on how to calculate that, so I will link it up above. But basically, you have to figure out the cubic square feet of your trunk, and then I believe this stroller is 18 cubic square feet. So in that video, I explain it all in depth. I find that this stroller can actually fold up pretty small as long as you remove the umbrellas, which is a pretty easy thing to do. It fits in my Explorer with the umbrellas on, no problem. As far as the umbrella goes on this stroller, I do not actually prefer the umbrellas. I feel like you either have two kids that are partially covered or one child that is totally covered. So we usually don't use the umbrellas unless we have a blanket draped over top of it, because they're both the half covers. So it's not like the Graco Modes jogger where it covers the entire stroller. It's just going to cover half of your kid, and I really don't feel like they do. they work okay, but they're not as good as they could be, and they're not as good as other Graco strollers. I have several Graco strollers, and as far as stroller like Graco products go, this specific stroller is not nearly as nice as the rest of the strollers that we have had. So that is something to keep in mind. You probably know somebody who has a stroller that you can test out before you buy it, and I would recommend taking it for a test drive before you purchase a stroller new. When you buy the stroller, it comes where you have to assemble some of it. It was very easy to snap together. We did have one of these strollers break, and we had to disassemble it, and it was a pain. It was such a pain to break down and to send back. It was a whole process. But I will say that Graco's customer service was wonderful. They were very, very easy to work with, and they were very patient, and they sent me a new stroller like no problem right away. The last thing I want to talk about is the price of this stroller. If you look at it on Graco's website, it is $199, and that is just for the stroller. But it also looks like if you purchase it in a retail store, it's going to be around $170, and that's if you buy it new and not on sale. I was able to purchase our stroller brand new on sale for $99, and I have seen it that price on more than one occasion. So if you're going to buy it, definitely watch for a sale. The other thing is, I don't know if it's just my local Facebook marketplace, but I see this version of that stroller on there all the time. And this specific stroller the models have not changed very much over the years. So definitely check Facebook marketplace, because you usually can get it for around $75 to $100 there. And the last thing I want to talk about is a few other options that you can purchase instead of buying the Graco Ready2Grow Click Connect double stroller. So the other option that is in the same price range is the Baby Trends Sit and Stand double stroller. The only reason I would recommend that stroller over top of this one is if having two seats facing forward are very important to you, because on the Baby Trends stroller, you can move the seats so both kids are facing away from you. That stroller also is a little bit cheaper. It is around $119, it looks like, at Walmart. It's a little higher at Target. But the only thing about that stroller is the basket is not big enough, as far as I think, and it is super wobbly. Like, it is so wobbly, and I feel like it is incredibly hard to manage, which is why I personally would not repurchase the Baby Trends Sit and Stand. If I only had the option of the two, I would go with the Ready2Grow. But if you are going to have two small children, I would say two children under the age of 3 years old, I would 100%, without a doubt, go with the Graco Modes Double Jogger Travel System, and that's if it's in your budget. So the Graco Modes Duo Double is anywhere between $200 and $349 if you purchase it online. That stroller has 27 riding options, and the bassinet lays all the way back, which is why I love it, because my toddler or my baby can lay flat in that stroller. It rides smooth, just like a Graco stroller. And if you are interested in seeing a more in-depth review of that stroller, please comment down below and let me know. It's on my list. It's just not something I've gotten around to. But if, obviously if I have somebody request it, then I will bump it up to the top of the list. If the Graco Ready2Grow stroller is the only one that's in your budget and the Modes is not, it's not a bad stroller. It does the job. It gets us from A to B. It just doesn't have the features that I would like it to, and I definitely feel like the Modes stroller is worth the upgrade. But all in all, overall, it's not a bad stroller if it's in the budget that you need it to be. If you have any questions about this stroller or any other stroller, please comment down and let me know. I really enjoy helping y'all get your little ones out and about and going to see all the places with your strollers. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button down below. And as always, thanks for listening. Bye.